Welcome to the Verses of Life, where military resilience meets professional clarity and faith overcomes chaos. Get battle-tested wisdom with biblical insight to triumph through growth. Now for your host, Dr. Veronica Sites.
Friends, you're going to be really excited about my guest today. Michelle Davis is a longtime servant at heart. She does fitness and wellness for all. She has a veteran background and is currently serving as a Texas realtor. In addition to keeping our veterans fit, not just the veterans community, but our talk today on the Verses of Life is really going to focus on how can we improve on transition with the insight of lived experience that you also are the spouse survivor of, you've suffered the loss of your spouse.
Right.
And so how does that all factor into her story of triumph as we reach out to you to bring you out of darkness into light? I'm Veronica Sites, and our guest today is Michelle Davis.
Hello. Thank you for that hype that everybody's going to be so excited.
Well, listen,
I hope so.
I didn't include the part, but I will right now. It's just like, it's almost a little intimidating. You've got such a wonderful background of your own TV show, your own, you're a producer and a lot of things. So it's like, wow, I need to be taking notes on this one.
Okay. Well, thanks for that compliment.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So tell me a little bit. You had shared, we've talked off script a little bit, and I met you through Rotary, and I've heard of you in the community because of the great things that you're doing for fitness and wellness. So from your perspective, what is something that we can do better? Because you grew up in a family of military, and you've seen it, you've lived the life, you're a reservist. What can we do better in helping our service members transition to life as a veteran?
That's a great question. I want to interrupt you or stop your direction for 1 second. I want to do some statistics first, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
We've heard this, probably a lot of you have heard this, but 17 to 22 veterans commit suicide every day in the United States.
They do. They die by
every
suicide.
day. 50% more than civilian suicide. It's crazy numbers. And that happens not right after military. It's generally 3 to 5 years generally after the transition. So we have a window there of transition that is really important to get veterans in a good place. And I know today we're going to talk about EMS and first responders because I think that's in the same realm of helping people.
Yes.
What do I think we could do better?
Yes.
Is that when veterans have a mission and have a purpose, and they have a tribe and they have a structure, and when they leave military, that structure, that tribe, all of it's taken away all of a sudden.
It is.
And so that transition, we need to be better. And we are better in recent years, but there's a lot more when there's 17 to 22 a day still. And that number fluctuates per season, per year. But we need to improve on that, obviously, on that number. And getting information out in the community and also with the VA, and having these kind of podcasts or these kind of news outlets make people aware of what's available to them when they leave military. And also knowing that programs are important for first responders also while they're doing their job. We don't have enough of that. The biggest one I think of is nursing. There's a horribly forgotten, I think, situation or a profession where we don't think about the effects of that daily cumulative traumas that they're experiencing, one after the other, and then they have to go home and disconnect from that trauma and try to be healthy outside of that job.
You're so right. When we think about first responders, we do often think about the ones with the red and the blue or the uniform, the branch uniform, and we don't keep top of mind that the emergency room, the physicians, the nurses, all of those care providers are the responders to the front line.
Right.
And that is. You brought up a number of really, really good points, and one of the ones that I want to bring up because of the 3 to 5 years, it's interesting to me that parallels, if you are a business owner,
Sure.
3 to 5 years is how much time you've got to get it out of the red into the black.
Right.
Because, and some people will refer to it as Death Valley.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a small business owner. We own a franchise, and it's just like, mission critical. When we started that business plan is, okay, we know this has to really take traction to gain the momentum, because we're going to blow past the 5-year mark. There's not going to be closing the doors. We're not going to, reposition. And that is something I have found, and I think that you can speak to that, is transition prepares us to an extent to separate from military. But you touched on the points that are so really an intricate part of those 3 to 5 years. When you lose community, when you separate, talk a little bit about that. What have you found happens, and how do you help them solve that problem from a physical fitness standpoint?
Yeah, so first thing is mentally, we just know this, and I know this from 20 plus years of doing fitness, that you're mentally cannot be well if you're physically not well. It's just not, it's almost an impossibility. Physically, you need to be strong to work on your mental health. And that's something I think is so forgotten or neglected when someone, we're talking of, if you look in the medical books on even bipolar, autistic, schizophrenic, any depression, anxiety, the first step is to become physically healthy. I like to think, because we're talking about veterans, I'll use this analogy, but we got a little army of men in here working to make our body healthy. And if they're fighting a physical ailment, it's really hard for them to fight a mental ailment. And so getting healthy physically first is priority one. And that happens a lot in that transition where they're active during the military, and then when they get out and they think, whew, I can rest and relax. And that relaxation during that 1 to 2 years is where that struggle starts to happen, because they've kind of start to neglect that physical well-being. Many of the special forces guys are good about getting back into the gym eventually, if they can do that. It also forces them to have community.
Yeah.
It forces them to have structure and a schedule, which is the first step for anybody with struggling with any kind of mental ailment, is that you need structure, you need a schedule, and you need good nutrition, good sleep, and good physical activity.
And hydration. This is one of my takeaways.
Which I put nutrition, I throw that in there, but hydration with your nutrition. You can't do much of anything without that. It's very hard to be successful. And in that transition, that's why martial arts is so popular. It's very popular among veterans transitioning, because it does give them immediate schedule, immediate accountability, immediate tribe, and physical well-being.
That discipline. There's such a discipline in martial arts that is.
And also to have a mission. So when they are in the military, when you're in the military, you have a mission, and you know what that mission is. It's lined out for you. It's spelled out, pretty clearly, and you have people around you that have their mission, so you're working together. And then when you get out, you're isolated. In a sense, and you don't have that mission anymore. We're not getting rid of the mission, we're just changing what the mission is, and that's important to know what that is.
And the field of mission, which is so important. Swinging back around to the nutrition component is, one of the things that I really appreciated that when I heard you speak the first time is that aspect of hydration as part of our nutrition. I love your analogy of we have an army in here. Yes, every system that we have, our organs, our muscles, and everything that holds our body together, our body weight is predominantly water. And the brain expends 20 to 30% of the calories our body burns on a daily basis. And it blows my mind that we don't make a connection on how water, the simple hydration of water, is actually contributing how our body digests the nutrition we put into it. And, I know that in the military, when I go to drill, at first when I was in, I would kind of get a chuckle. Of course, I didn't laugh out loud, but I would just get a chuckle where you're in boot camp or you're in a concentrated drill, and it's just like drink water, and it's like we almost need that.
Yeah.
And a reminder of drink water, drink it on a regular basis, because the one thing that I think we're getting better at, but that I'm hearing you say as well, Michelle, is the importance of training the brain. Like, it's the one organ that no one wants to lose the capacity of its function, but it's also the one organ that it doesn't get attention until it breaks down.
Sure, that's absolutely right. And the brain is it's the computer center for everything to function properly.
Yeah.
And when that's not working, everything else suffers. It gives the signals for everything to do what it needs to do. But it's kind of a catch-22 because it's hard to get the brain to function properly when the body isn't functioning properly. So we know, we could do a whole episode on health and fitness and food and nutrition and supplements. So we'll save that for another time. Today we're talking about, first responders and fire, EMS, nurses, doctors, military, and their transitions. But the transition doesn't have to be ending military. It could be changing assignments too.
Yes.
That's another thing that happens a lot is when you're in nursing or EMS even, you reach a certain level of your job, and the openings for that next level are at other hospitals or other cities, and you have to change your whole life to go reach that next level. And that's starting over with that trauma. The difference in their traumas are cumulative. So it's everyday pounding trauma after trauma after trauma, where military is kind of usually a big trauma that happens, and they come home and then they're faced with not having that structure and then being faced with that trauma every day. But it's interesting that you mentioned the 3 to 5 year success rate, because what happens in that first couple years is they're kind of excited to be out, or they're looking forward to, what's to come, but they don't know what that is. And so the unknown. And at first it's kind of exciting, but then when they settle into that isolation, the lack of structure, so it's really important that they jump right into, where am I going to go to get my health and fitness? And it does have to be the gym. So a lot of people think I have to join a gym. No, you don't. If it's a cycling team, a hiking team, if it's a walking club, a running club, whatever it is that you like to do and you enjoy, but getting into that club is really important for I would say all of them, first responders, military, getting into that club that gives you that sense of community, accomplishment, competition, somebody to bounce ideas or feelings off of. Nothing makes you feel better than to know you're not alone in your feelings.
Yeah.
And being able to freely share them without judgment too. So I think that bringing them into that transition is going to be a huge part of their success, obviously.
Yeah.
Getting into the group, the community. But also I want to point out to veterans, we've seen the most success from veterans that get involved in coaching, mentoring, volunteering.
Excellent.
And not just with veterans. They could pick any organization that means something to them, that gives them that sense of purpose, that they have to be well to help others. There's one thing that's in common in all of the people that we're talking about today.
Yeah, tell me. I'd love to hear that.
One thing that's in common, lots of differences, a lot of commonalities, but one thing is for sure in common is they are all in service to someone else. They're all responsible for someone else's health, their well-being, and their life. And that's a huge responsibility. So that's why everybody's job is important. I think, what would the world be if we didn't have our trash collectors? It would be awful, right? But the trauma of knowing that you're responsible every moment of your working day for another person's life and well-being. And we could put teachers in that category too. You're responsible for the safety and the well-being and the growth of a child.
32 at one time.
Sure. And so that's a trauma, that's a consistent trauma that you're on guard constantly. And we don't give them enough credit for that position. But all of them have that in common. And that's unlike most of our jobs, we're not responsible for people's life and death. So when you put that on someone, that puts a heavy toll on them mentally and especially cumulatively.
I'm telling you what, you are speaking to me right now, because I'm still active duty as a chaplain, and I don't ever frame it in that aspect, but it's true. I know it. It's not like one of those top of mind things, but hearing you say that, it's like, that's spot on. I mean,
Right.
it's that common thread. It's also where, not in the military service, in the space where I help people train their brain, it's because, pain can be destructive and it can be productive. And I've learned to
Yeah,
adjust
growth.
and adapt. The brain can adapt. And helping others through coaching and mentoring, that peer support is important. And it really comes back to the warrior ethos we learn in military. It's just like, no man left behind.
Right.
You're stronger with a battle buddy. You know the person to the left and the right. You know who's in front and behind you. And just be separated from that. I thank you for bringing up the fact that when our medical providers leave from one health institution to another, there's that separation.
Sure,
that
from their community, from the people they
Yeah.
built ties with, or the people they felt comfortable with, or they could vent to. Now they've got to start that over. Same thing on duty assignments. When they're changed duty assignments, it's a whole new group of people, different structure, and they've got to leave those past traumas or those past experiences to start this new venture, and it's a little stressful.
Yeah, I
and
can imagine.
you're in a new city, a new town, a new country, and you're having to learn not only that part. I mean, just think about if you want to, for anybody that's lived out of the country, if you've moved to another country, there's a whole learning experience about that country's cultures, languages, how things work, how the subway works, how the train station works.
Yeah.
And so they're not only just dealing with that, but also their new job assignment with their new tribe. And we don't give that enough credit, I don't think. We're better. We're better than we had been in recent years. We're upping our VA. We were upping our VA, not the benefits, but also the information that's available. I mean, I am very surprised as a Texas realtor, how many veterans don't know what their housing possibilities are.
So this is a space. I thank you. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and turn the conversation to that, because this is something that you help. Like, I'm very, very big on positioning our guests to the problem that you solve for a veteran is something that is a need to know. And so
Yeah.
what do veterans need to know as we're preparing to transition?
Sure. Well, I don't want to get into
housing.
the whole realty thing.
Yeah, no,
that's
just
another thing.
just high
But
points.
I think get the information when you are ready to leave, to know what your options are for getting housing in the area that you want to settle in. And then if you get a good realtor, they're going to help you look at the school system, look at the area that you're in, the population. They're going to give you more than just finding you a house. So it doesn't have to be me. It could be me if you want it to be me. But if you're looking for a realtor, find one that's willing to go the extra mile to get all the information for you. Let them know I'm a veteran. I want to know all that's available to me, and get them to do their job, what they're getting paid to do. They should find out for you where the school systems are, what they're rated, help you. And they may not know, they shouldn't know the information, but they'll know who to contact that has the information. And that will put you in the best position to make a good choice. But also knowing that if you've used your VA benefit before for housing, that doesn't eliminate you from using it again. Those are things that a lot of veterans don't know. And getting a good realtor to help you with that.
And I remember, reading over some of the things, how that component of your helping is the importance of knowing where home base is going to be.
Sure, home base is very important.
Talk about that, because without the knowledge, or many times overwhelm. It's like information overload, overwhelm. It's too much. Transitioning from structure to now, it's not that you have to figure it out. It's recognizing support like yourself. You're a veteran. You've got the knowledge of real estate, and you have the knowledge of, just because you used it once doesn't mean it's not available now.
Right.
Re-educating, going, okay. And I just recently, I had connected one of my retiree troop members that wasn't even sure if they could do housing at all. Like, they weren't in a position. And lo and behold, instead of going into renting, they bought a house.
Yes.
Which was a wise decision. So talk about really that aspect of home base and what that does to facilitate stability.
Sure. Well, we know, and I don't want to gender separate, but women have a very big need for safety and security. It's just in most women, that's, if you ask them what the main thing is, I think if you've ever read Love Languages, that's kind of a thing that they need safety and security. And that number one thing as an adult is having a home base. Somewhere that you can call home. Well, if you've been in the military, like I was a military kid, we moved a lot. I think 20 times in 18 years or something. But when you do that, there's some people who can roll right into that and they're okay with that change and they pick it right up and they're good. And a lot of people aren't. And it doesn't make you good or bad or better or worse. It just means that you're more apt to be able to accept a new environment easy. But nobody accepts an environment where there's no home base. Right. I mean, it's just not mentally. You have to first thing. That was something I was going to point out is for veterans transitioning, home base is really important, and it doesn't mean you have to buy a home. But veterans have a bigger option, and so do actually Texans have a bigger option in if they don't have a huge down payment. And they can. There's so many different ways that they can structure it and get you that house without having to have saved up that kind of money. But home base is very important to establish that, to start your structure.
Yeah.
To give you that solid structure. Think of it as a foundation. You can't build the house without the foundation. You can't have a strong, overall health without a good, strong body. And so having that home base is really important to get started on that transition. And that's for not just veterans, but first responders moving to a new city. We see first responders moving a lot, shifting a lot from city to city, and that they may stay in the city to live in because their family's there, but they're driving a good distance to go work in another city. And having that home base, knowing that they get to come home to that safe and secure environment is important.
Yeah, and that is that is a very good point, because so many don't localize living where they serve for security reasons, for privacy reasons, for a number of things. But when you know where you're going and that it's there for you, that is not something that, is an added stressor to everything that's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also want to point out that there are resources in the cities usually that allow you to know what programs are there in that city for veterans, for meetings. If you're suffering from addiction, there's the city should provide those resources also.
Okay.
And if they don't, then that's when you can get involved and you can find your mission to do that. You can say, I want to provide a place in our city where veterans can go. You could take up a mission in that particular town or city yourself. And there you've created yourself a community, a purpose, and helping others. When I want to touch base again on what we talked about, that all of those areas that air traffic controllers are another one. I'll throw them in there too. High rate of suicide, and they're responsible for what? Yet again, other people's safety, well-being, and lives. And not that anybody other's jobs aren't as important, but when we put that one element in there, we find that there's a higher rate of suicide, a higher rate of depression, trauma response, triggers because of what responsibilities they had.
Yeah. Wow. I feel I'm so glad that we have you on here today. Listen, you should be gaining a lot of value, because Michelle has brought to light a lot of things that it's hitting me, and just really the expanse of opportunity that we have. Your voice is the one of advocacy that I knew would help our audience. And so help us know how to connect with you. I know that you do some education. People can contact you. You come and you just this morning, you were speaking to a group on widowhood and what that is like. So give us like 5 things that you speak on in the community, because I want our audience to really be able to
well, health and fitness, obviously, anything to do with training, eating right, nutrition, supplementation. I'm trying to study constantly because we're ever evolving. The way we trained or taught people to work out 20 years ago is not the same as we're training now, and it shouldn't be. Anything that gets better, progress always means that you change. You're changing something because you're learning something to do better.
So can I ask you something? Is it like,
Sure.
it's not a myth type of thing. It's just I'm noticing that my youth capacity to work out is no longer here. So
Sure.
it's different. And how important is it to adjust our exercise regimen as our bodies start to age?
Well, that's a good point. Not just age, but also different phases of our life and different desires. I mean, when I was 25, I wanted to run the world and climb Mount Everest, and maybe that's not my goal anymore. You know, I'm being exaggerative, but my goals are different, and so I'm adjusting my fitness. But one thing is the solid baseline. You have to eat healthy. I mean, we are inundated with bad food, but the good news is we're also inundated with good foods now too, which we can walk down the aisles of any grocery store and we can find lots of great foods. If nobody has the Yucca app, get that app.
I got it as soon as you mentioned
amazing. Get that app. But you can scan foods. I mean, that old saying, garbage in, garbage out, is spot on. I mean, you are what you eat. So eating healthy, hydrating is part of that nutrition. And also, we have a wide range of vitamins that are available to us that weren't available to us 20 years ago. I mean, you'd have to go to a specialty store to get all these great vitamins. Now you can go to Walmart, H-E-B, you know, Kroger, and you can get a wide range of vitamins. But the biggest thing I want to tell you that touches on what you asked me is nobody's going to know your body like you. Not the doctor, not the trainer. You need to learn your body and what it's signaling you to do. Again, you have an army in there fighting for your life every moment. They're there working and internally, and knowing what to listen to so that you know what to fix is important. And I can't stress enough how many people don't know the signals of their own body. A good example is when someone has a heart attack, the first thing they say was, well, I thought I kind of wasn't feeling right. But if you knew your body really well, and it takes time to know that, that touches on the mental health too. When you know something's going on because you know yourself, you have a better chance of getting help and fixing it and repairing it than if you wait because you're not sure.
The tune in versus the denial. It's
Sure.
almost like that warning sign. I
Sure.
mean, you know,
if you paid attention and you knew, I feel off, I know I feel off, then you can get help. Stroke is another good one to talk about. Is stroke happens so fast, and most of the time they kind of knew something wasn't right, but they were not so in tune with their body. And I'm not pushing blame on people saying you didn't get help because you didn't know. But the more you spend time getting in tune with your body, your brain, knowing what feels good, knowing that you feel healthy, knowing that you've had enough sleep, not enough sleep, knowing that you have, I don't know how many people tell me, oh, I haven't eaten today, that's why I'm hangry, you know. So if you would have listened to those triggers right away, you would have stopped that.
Yeah.
So I would stress, listen, get in tune, spend some time getting in tune with yourself. And that doesn't come from hitting the pavement 24/7, coming from somebody that hits the pavement 24/7. Yeah, take some time to sit with yourself and know what doesn't feel right, what feels right, where you need to focus on and get help.
Now, currently you're realtor in Texas realtor, so you can, serve most things, but you are located in Burleson, is that right?
I'm in Johnson County.
Johnson County.
And so if you're in Johnson County, that's the easy one. I do service anywhere in Texas, and I will drive for most anybody. I like to drive, so I don't mind the travel.
And the coaching and training component.
Coaching and training, I'm in Burleson. So if you're interested, I do online Zoom, also. And I've started training just athletes. So I did athletes solely. Quick story, I'll try to make it quick. I had an older lady come in and meet me when I first started training, and I was just training athletes. She said, I want you to train me. I heard you're the best. I'm going to have double hip replacement. And I told her, no, I'm too good to train, someone like you. And she would take no, not take no for an answer. I ended up training her, and I realized this is what I should do. I want to take all the people that are struggling with severe injuries, traumas, physical ailments. And I teamed up with a great young lady Jessica, who does Fitability.
Oh,
is a
yes,
company.
for special needs.
Special
I love
needs.
her.
And so I
Yes.
thought, what better way to use my rent? We got into a building together,
Mm-hmm.
and she does anybody with physical and mental disabilities, and
Yes.
I love the name Fitability.
Yes.
So if you have someone in your family or in your life that needs that, she's great with them. And she also does teaches special needs at school. So her whole life is committed to service.
It is. She is one of my favorite
Yeah.
people. She's
Yeah.
she's helped our grandson a lot.
Yeah, she's wonderful. And so I felt like that rent, so any money you pay me goes to that. So
Yeah.
that's like, trickling down that money to a better cause.
Well, I am a firm believer that money changes hands when problems get solved, and you can solve a number of problems. So
Yeah.
I want you to look up Michelle Davis. Her website is, coming across the banner. Just
Instagram,
follow up.
Facebook, all that.
all the
that.
socials. Just like, follow, subscribe. She's a great connector. I want to thank you for being on the Verses of Life today. You are
Thank you.
top gold medal. What we bring on
the
here.
gold medals Olympic
I know.
correlation. That's
You're-
nice.
You're the gold medal as far as, guests don't come on here that cannot add value to our audience, because the truth is everyone faces choices, and you're one radical choice from a totally different life. So make your choice well, and remember, tactical connections are going to help you go further faster. I'm Veronica Sites, and we'll see you again soon.
This has been the Verses of Life, where warriors and professionals live life on purpose, silence doubt, and lead with action. Stay strong, stay grounded, and remember, growth through pain reveals a greater purpose. Stay. The world needs you.